Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Blether with, yes, Dave. Kat has got coal in the internet. Her hair is all done nice and bonny, and we are ready to rock.
It was my it was my fault we were late. Sorry, guys.
Just, I mean, I think we're running out of excuses. I feel like Jurgen Klopp for Liverpool. It's just like every time we get beat, there's an excuse. So sometimes you just give up and say, no, we're not going to bother with that. Good evening, everybody. Let us know what's in your glass. You've got the rare treat of seeing me with a cup of tea tonight in my ever so fashionable Cinderella mug. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
It is. You see, yeah, blue's not just for boys. Cinderellas and princesses can have blue mugs too.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. I will be having a dram, don't worry. But just, I don't know, I just had a real hankering for a cup of tea this evening. I'm
I have
sure
that every evening.
about 2 seconds to 7 every night, you tend to have a cup of tea in your mouth.
I know you think I would have learned by now, but no, I'm like, oh, I'll just try once more, and then you're like, go live. I think you do it on purpose. You just wait until the cup starts going towards my face. You're like, oh, live.
David Muir is on. He's just a Balmore 18-year-olds tonight.
Is that like a sort of Balvenie Dalmore hybrid?
Yeah, I've never heard of a Balmore, David.
Is it a Balmore?
Maybe the labels come off in the bath. Maybe he dropped it in the bath and the labels come off, and he's
Dalmore. He's got
Dalmore. Oh wow! Hey, nice dram, the 18-year-old Dalmore. Yeah, hope you're enjoying that. What's everyone else drinking, guys? Let us know what you're on. Apologies from our guest. He was in Wished. for our American friends or Canadian friends, wherever you are, Wished means keep quiet, shut up. You don't get that. Yeah, our guest Greg, unfortunately, or fortunately for him, I guess, had a client come in last minute and is looking for some tastings of casks and stock inventory. So unfortunately, we get it. Everyone out there is running their own businesses as well as giving up their time for us. So unfortunately, sometimes it happens that that they have to cancel on us. We did try and get a replacement in, but you know what? We thought, well, you're just going to get stuck with me and Kat for an hour or so.
We can talk shite.
We can, yeah. And Greg has given us permission to berate him while he's not here. So we might do that. We might not. We have a great tasting with the rare find coming up in the shop, actually. There's 153 years of whiskey across 6 drams that we're going to be cracking open. So I better not say too much against it.
I was going to ask that about them. Is it all high age statements that they release? Because it's like
No.
the youngest thing. What's the lowest that they go to?
We have a 10-year-old Mortlach on the shelf at the moment. We have a 14-year-old Glenallachie, 16-year-old Rennis and Dal Ewan on there. But yeah, they've got some cracking old stock. They've been around a lot longer than I think most people realise. And they had a chap called Graham Harvey, I think, who was one of our first tasting hosts at the shop, when we opened the tasting room.
Cool.
Under the rare find, the Glenmore rare find. And I remember they had a really nice Royal Brackla, which is 8 years old bourbon cask. Still a standout dram for me in my memory. Really nice. Really nice dram. So Greg's booked himself back in. I think we're on for the 30th of May. So, we'll find out a lot more about what they get up to.
Yeah.
You were up Glenglassing this week, were you? I've seen photos.
No, I wasn't. I've got I have got so many photographs in my phone, and I keep thinking to myself that I'm going to just start gradually putting them up on Instagram because like I've got all my pictures from last year and I went to Campbellton. And I just haven't done anything with. And you know what? Like you always think, well, do you know what? I'll make a reel or like, you know, I'll do something with that. So I'm just gradually trying to stagger them onto my Instagram. But I was thinking it was such nice weather and I was at the beach last weekend. And like what you usually do when you go to the beach, you put a bottle of whiskey in your handbag. You think that'll be a nice place to take a photograph of. My kids are so bored of me. Like whenever we go somewhere, I usually have a bottle of whiskey in my handbag. Like my kid's like, Mom, could you just be normal? I'm like, just hold it up against that view. You know, stop moving. It doesn't matter about the cars. Just wait there a second.
It doesn't matter that a 12-year-old's hand holding it.
So yes, so I had that picture on my phone. And I thought Whiskey Wednesday, I'll whack that one up. So it's not. But I was at Glenglassaugh. When did I go? I think it was like the start of the year.
Yeah.
So I had a little look around. It's just such a lovely distillery. Like from the outside, it doesn't look that exciting because it's quite like kind of 70s, kind of like council office vibes. But see, when you go into like the still house, you're looking out down onto the beach and stuff. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Yeah,
it's certainly a distillery you'd rather be in looking out than outside looking in.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yes, so that's the dram I've got tonight actually, because I absolutely love the Port Soy and the Sanine.
Yeah.
So I've got what do I have? The Sanine one. See, I'm from up here, like, but I didn't know that's how you're meant to pronounce it. So that was you that told me.
I think it's a very local. I think people from Port Soy or Sanine, and that's it. No, everyone else calls it Sandine. I think it's a very local niche.
Yeah,
we do like to put our own twist on some words and accents, and I'm pretty sure there's a committee somewhere just picks a name and said, right, we're going to change the name of that to something completely bizarre, and everyone will get a memo or a pigeon fax or something and say, this is how we're going to pronounce this from now on. But don't tell anyone. Let them guess first.
It's like Ducat or Facker, like Fackerson. Like nobody else would pronounce it as like that. We're like, how will we take that completely normal looking word and turn it its arse to confuse everybody? But it's a nice thing about Doric, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, and I suppose the Gaelic language as well is similar, where we just we throw letters together, and I think whiskey's got a lot to do with that, where they probably wrote it down after a skinful of it, and when they woke up in the morning, we're like, "How did we pronounce that again?" And something like "Geary." All right, cool, but yeah, that'll do.
That's very, very true. Do you know? And you're right as well, though, because we get a lot of people coming into the distillery whose surname is Geary, but they pronounce it, even other Scottish folk, if they're not from here, they'll pronounce it as Garrick or Garrick or Garrick. And you see a lot of variation to the spelling, but it's obviously come from the same words.
Yeah.
Yes, no, it is interesting, but yeah, it keeps you guessing, doesn't it? Keeps you guessing.
Yeah. So you weren't at Glenglassaugh. What have you been up to this week? Have you anything exciting?
Anything exciting this week? No.
It's almost Thursday. The weekend hasn't arrived yet. It's fine. Did you get up to Speyside for the festival at all?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't actually, because I was at work, and I forgot it was Spirit Speyside. So, what day did it? What day did it officially start? Was it the Wednesday? It officially started, wasn't it?
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. So Monday I was at work, and it was absolutely out the door rammed with folk, and I was like, "What the hell is going on? Like, where have all these people come from? Like, has Germany all just arrived in Scotland en masse on a Monday?" And like, folk were doing bottle your owns, and like, we were dramming folk, and it was awesome. It was like Paddy's Market. And then I suddenly thought, oh crap, that's what it is. It's Spirit Speyside. So we picked up a lot of footfall from it. But I think because we're the closest to the airport, a lot of people will take us off on their way up to Speyside, and then again,
it's kind of a drive-by, isn't it? That they can go in, have a look around, because you've got that great reception now. You're doing the drams as well. People can go in, have a dram, see a bit of the place, and effectively drive through the distillery without having to tour it, which is quite nice. There's not many distilleries that you can actually just go through the grounds. on
Yeah,
that
no,
public road.
that's very true. We're not far off the main, the main road either. And then we've got we've got 3 nice casks in the warehouse too. So like, there's kind of something for everyone, like depending on what your price range is. So, yeah, no, it was good. It was nice it's just nice to see so many people here for like
Exactly.
this little wee corner of Scotland, and all these people arriving from all around the world. I find that amazing that people from all around the world will literally plan around visiting Speyside. It's mental.
Yeah. And if you know the distillery that we're shamelessly plugging here, make sure you go past and see it and say hello to Kat, who's there a lot more often now, which is fantastic for them.
Yes.
Just checking some of the comments. Hello, Felix. Sorry, I couldn't. So Felix was on the Whisky Academy last March. So you would have met him. Unfortunately, well, he was over for Speyside as well, up at the festival, and there was a few of the guys got a wee reunion. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it over. I had being the father of a 1-year-old now kind of restricts my going out nights to maybe one a week. So unfortunately, that Wednesday I couldn't make it. So yeah, sorry I missed you there, Felix, but we'll have to do it again sometime. And we'll have a proper reunion. Big pause on YouTube saying, "Evening all, let's talk whiskey." Well, that'll crop up now and then tonight. Sure. But yeah, I got up to the Cayley up in the Callan on Friday night.
That's cool.
It was cool. Again, unfortunately, I couldn't stay for the evening. Went up in the train and got back on the last train, which was I think about 25 to 11. So it was just really kicking off. I ended up kicking off in a bad sense, kicking off in the Cayley and the dancing kind of thing. There was no punches flying or anything. It was all very well behaved when I left. And yeah, it was gearing up to be a really good night. I got one Cayley dance, and that was it. So we were over. I got an invite from Kevin at Muddy McDavid. Asked me over. So yeah, really nice, really good meal. Drams were flowing, and really good night. But sorry.
I saw quite a few people on my Instagram seem to be at it. Lots of whiskey related people. I think it looked like it was a good.
Yeah, I think they had something on every night or every other night. The opening dinner was there. The lunch was on the Wednesday. There's a lot of big hitters there, and yeah, so it was great. It was great to meet Edward, the owner of Murray McDavid. He was at my table, so I had some good chats with him and learning all about his vision. I won't tell you guys. We'll maybe get him on and he can tell us himself.
Get him booked in.
Yeah, but quite open with the plans and where he sees it. Talking about Dallas Dew and the likes and how that came about for them. So yeah, it was really interesting. I managed, because I was leaving quite early, I managed to remember it all, which for a Speyside event is I don't know if that's successful or unsuccessful.
Well, somebody was telling me. Who was telling me? Somebody was in the other day. Oh, it was Fraser from Copper Cairn. He was in past the distillery the other day, and he was saying, and I'm sure he said that there was 800 different events on over the course of Spirit of Speyside. So I'm assuming every distillery would do like maybe a couple of different times and events, which would mount up to 800, but still that's a lot, isn't it? That's so much happening.
Yeah, and I'll be speaking to a few people, and they'll say right up until the festival, and even during the festival, still a lot of people kind of tout in events and say, we still got tickets available, which is kind of unheard of for Spirit of Speyside. It normally sells out. I hope it's not going down that route where it's getting too much about events and tickets and everyone has to do something, because you can almost over event something.
Yeah.
And if people are only selling half the tickets for a certain event, they say, we won't bother next year. But sometimes I like that because you get a bit more out of it, because there's less of a group. You're not in, if there's only 4 of you and the tour is made for 12, then you get a much better experience. I think
the other problem is accommodation. So if there's a lot on in one go, it's really hard for people to to plan around that, because you've got your travel between places and then finding somewhere to stay. I think that must be the most difficult part to organise. Because the people I spoke to, you say to them, well, where are you, which ones are you doing? And the list you get is, they're pretty much doing them all. It's like, how are you fitting all that in?
Yeah. It's like you've got the Flash as a taxi guy. It's like crazy.
Man.
But yeah, it's somehow they manage it. I guess there's for a lot of these guys, and let us know if you got to the Speyside Festival, how you manage it if you're watching. But I imagine a lot of them, it's like their annual pilgrimage to Scotland. It's either Speyside or it'll be the Fèis Isle.
Yeah.
One of those is a big trip over, so it's all planned down to a T, and I guess booked well in advance. So I'm sure there's a way that people far more organised than you and I can.
I know.
I mean, at least I remembered the festival was on.
God, I know. Well, my first clue was when I got into work pretty early. Well, not pretty early. What am I kidding? Like, I work in a distillery. Like, we start at 10. When I got into
I got in early at 10 to 10 to open the door.
When I got there 9:30, I found 6 men stood outside in lederhosen. I thought, well, this is a bit different.
Proper kitted out.
Yeah, proper lederhosen as well. Like, really smart, kind of embroidered, I don't know, like leathery type lederhosen. And they all had their books. So they were getting their stamps in their books, which I love. I haven't had somebody ask me for a stamp in a book for ages. So I love getting the distillery stamp out and stamping their books. It's just so cool. So yeah, that was like my first indication that maybe there was something happening that I wasn't aware of. But I'm going to write it in the diary for next year.
I'm watching the conversation, particularly amongst the YouTubers, talking about the expense of some of the events. Jeremy on Facebook's also said here that some events were completely pulled due to not enough people. I think there's a lot going on. Yeah, prices going up and less disposable income. Completely understand that. And I hope it doesn't become about the money and people are just charging for the sake of it. You see distilleries all over Scotland are doing that now. A couple of new distilleries, £200 for the basic tour, and you're like, how do we? I guess the good thing is there's always a cheaper alternative, and there's always something that's affordable out there. And if we, as a community, as a whiskey industry, as consumers, target those guys and make sure they sell out, then the higher end ones might kind of take heed, and we can hope.
I know. I think it must be so difficult for distilleries to keep turning out something new every year. It's like, okay, that was great. How do we beat that for next year? What do we do? I mean, there's only so many different pairings and tastings, and whiskey under the stars, whiskey next to the bonfire, whiskey. Like, how many different ways can you change what you're doing? Okay, you might release a Speyside release, but there's you must reach a point where like, I've run out of ideas. We can't keep churning out something new.
These kind of guys, I know Dewars do the whiskey by the Spain at night time, and river walks, and Murray McDavid did some really nice kind of bonfire events. For me, that's the events to go to, because that's where there's nothing official. You just stand around with a group of friends getting a couple of drams. Really easy to put on, really easy to kind of manage. Your risk assessment is basically don't fall in the fire, don't fall in the river, behave yourself. That's when you get the real chance to kind of sit around and chat to people and find out about them. And it's not going around because, we were lucky enough, and most of the guys home watching as well, I'd expect, they go around distilleries quite often. And the target is to get your Tormores and these kind of guys, your Mortlicks, your Dalewans that aren't normally open. That's what you go for. And some of the best sessions at these kind of things are probably, I'm just going to go down to Dufton Legion and have a couple of beers and see who's kicking about. There might be somebody with a fiddle in the corner and playing a bit of music and that. And sometimes the free events, the ones that you just kind of stumble upon, can be the best nights, rather than forking out 50 quid, 60 quid to do a tour of somewhere that you could probably get £30 tour any other time of the year.
That's true, actually. And we should just maybe point out to Ben, he's asking where's the guest. So I think Ben joined late, so we should maybe just point out that our guest unfortunately can't make it tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, Greg's had to pull out. So, yeah, you're stuck with us. We're just chewing the cud, as it were.
We're going to find out more about you guys. We want to know more about you all, because you're all chatting to each other. You all know each other, but yeah, we need to find out more about you all.
Yeah, where are you watching from? I think we know most people. We recognise most names. Is this anyone's first time on with us? If so, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
It's not usually this shit.
It'll improve. It'll get better. Where I was going, something popped into my head, then it popped straight out again.
You were talking about informal kind of ones are usually for more fun. Or did you remember? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I moved on when I said chewing the cud, and then I remember a cow joke I heard today. Why does a milking stool only have 3 legs?
I don't know.
Because the cow has the udder.
Oh, that's such a dad joke.
It came from a dad joke book. I found it, and I was at my pub cleaning the pipes, and somebody had left this book there, and I picked it up, and it was a dad joke book, and that was the one that stood out for me. Sorry, Callum, I've offended Callum Fraser on Facebook. Oh dear. But yeah, it's literally a book of very embarrassing dad jokes because your dad thinks he's hilarious. So watch out for more of those in the future as I read my way through. I'm allowed to say this now. I'm allowed to do dad jokes now.
You are. My son told me a joke, and I found it really, really funny. And I always try and retell it. And I can never remember. And it's something to do with a pig in a tree. It'll come back to me. My other favourite joke is one from the Vicar Dibley. You know, they used to do the joke right at the very end.
Yeah. But Alice can't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was it? It was the 2 nuns driving along in a car, which I find hilarious anyway. Imagine just like 2 nuns driving up past you on like the motorway in a car. But anyway, 2 nuns are driving along a car and a vampire jumps out in front of them. So one nun turns to the other one and says, "Quick, Sister Margaret, show him your cross." So she jumps out of the car and says, "Get out of the way, you toothy bastard." That's the best joke. I said a swear word for the watershed time. Sorry, everyone. It's biblical. It's fine if it's biblical.
Yeah. But we don't talk religion on the Blether. That's probably as religious as we'll get. Jeremy on Facebook, no, this won't be a tradition. I don't want to say because Mitch and the guys at Not Another Whisky Podcast, they do a dad joke telling session. So we're not going to steal that one. We're not going to start doing that.
That's a good point, actually. Oh, I've just taken my Glenglasser out of the box, and after its little seaside photo shoot, it's absolutely covered. It's not empty. It's just covered in like sand and bits of seaweed. Jesus.
So I've just poured myself the Speyburn Distillery exclusive.
Oh, no way.
As a testament to Speyside Festival, which is just passed. 55%, 264 bottles, natural colour, no chill filtered, all that good stuff, and a first fill bourbon cask. So this wasn't the Speyside Festival edition. I picked this one up. It must have been January, so just the turn of the year. It might have been. It might have been the first distillery exclusive they released since opening. I might be wrong on that, but I'm quite sure it's very close to the first. And I know the barflies watching on YouTube get excited about Speyburn because I know that Roy's very, very eager on the Speyburn 15-year-old and during his sessions. So this one's for you guys. It's certainly not the 15-year-old. There's no sherry cask in here. It's very yellow gold.
I think I've got the 15-year-old. Hang on. No, I've got the 18-year-old.
just the 18.
Well, do you know what it was? When I went to Speyburn, it was just before Christmas, and I absolutely fell in love with the place. And the guide, she was awesome. But the tasting room, they had the Christmas tree, and they had they paired. I always forget the name of them. I always call them Christmas pies, mince pies.
Mincemeat
They paired
pies.
mince pies with the 18-year-old, and it was just such a nice combination. You know me, I'm not usually a big sherry fan, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. Is it Oloroso or is it? I don't think
It will be, yeah, I would imagine so. It'll either be Oloroso or a combination.
It's a marriage, so it started out in American oak and then moved over into, it just says Spanish oak. So, but it's not super sweet, so I'd imagine it'd be Oloroso. But it's just, this one's yum, really, really yum.
Yeah, and great value for money. I think for this one, so 2012, so that's fully 10 years, possibly 11 years. And I think we were £70 for that for a single cask. I think that's for the distiller exclusive. You normally have to pay a little bit of a premium for those, but really, really nice.
Mike, when are you going to tidy up your bottles? You should take a leaf out of Kat's book. It's about time that people, appreciated how good my whiskey shelf is compared to your shitty shelf. So let's all slag off Mike.
Every week. I don't even have a shelf. I've got a windowsill. It's not even a shelf.
Thank you very much, Dave, for pointing that out. I do have a very neat whiskey shelf. I'm very proud of my whiskey shelf.
It is. It's lovely. But you cover all of it. At least I let people see.
Well, I cover it with my big stupid face. I don't know how else we would. I don't know how else to make this work. Because if I face the other way, you wouldn't see it.
It was the face part that caught me. I thought you were going to say hair, but
well, my hair is not so big today. I've had it reduced slightly today.
Alistair Gray saying, did somebody say Speyburn? Yes, we did. That's what I'm having. Or Kat, did you pour yourself a wee 18-year-old?
Not yet, because I'd already poured the Glenglassaugh, but that'll be on the, because I've got a day off tomorrow, so that'll be the next one.
Graham Fraser he's earlier on. He mentioned that he's just recovering from Spey Festival. Did the Speyburn Managers Tour on Sunday. Excellent. Just him on the experience. How cool is that?
That's really cool.
That sounds amazing. Great for you. A bit of a shame that only one person was there. But wow, what an experience!
I thought I'd left it too late, so I really wanted to go up to Tormore to go and see Polly's event, and then I left it so late. I thought, everything, because I was off that weekend, so I thought everything would be booked up. I didn't even look, but now I'm seeing all the comments, and from what you're saying, a chance that I probably would have got on to one of them at least.
If you phoned her up and said, "Look, Polly, remember me, Kat? I'm coming up. Make a space."
Remember that girl that spoke absolute shite at you for an hour? Can I come up and have a look at it? It's still there.
You have a better chance than me because I missed that. I missed Polly's one.
Yeah, you did, because
Davis
stepped in last minute.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was really good fun, actually. Because, of course, the first time we tried to get her on, she had a power cut. So we had just a run of bad luck trying to get Polly on. But, yeah, these things happen, don't they? It's people, they have busy lives. They were always very grateful when they agreed to give up some time for us.
Absolutely. This is lush, by the way.
I'm really jealous.
Like apple pies and vanilla custard.
Yum. You should do a whiskey and biscuit pairing.
Yeah, it's Mr. Kipling apple pies, not apple and cinnamon, just pure apple and pastry, is what that reminds me of.
That's yum. So you've got an apple pie with your Speyburn, and I can have a mince pie with my one. Mm-hmm. Although Dave said he would rather have a Scotch pie. I don't know if that would go with a whiskey, would it?
Scotch. Oh yeah. Scotch pie with something like, I would go with. Maybe what's that?
Like a Ben Rinnes or something, a big meaty, weird kind of whiskey.
Yeah, I was thinking Glenfarclas, maybe Dalhuin or something like that. Maybe Mortlach, something, or Kilcoman, Loch Gorm, something like that. It's kind of big in
Maybe.
sherry, but a drier kind of sherry, not a big fruity kind of. Oloroso rather than BX, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Because if you're having like meat, you go for like a big fruity red wine, don't you? So you maybe want to go for something fruity. Like mince pies are minging. Get a steak
Callum
pie.
Fraser saying no chance. So no Glenfarclas with a Scotch pie.
All right, we've got a committed fan.
Oh well, no, he is. He's a pie and GF. Yeah, he's. See, I think a pie with a Glenfarclas. I think anything would go with a Glenfarclas. I'm a big fan. Although I maybe shouldn't point out this. I don't have any behind me. Callum, we'll have to get you back on. That'll give me an excuse to stock up with some Glenfarclas.
I don't know if I've got any Glenfarclas. I've been to the distillery, and I always buy a bottle when I go to the distillery. I'm going down into the basement. Excuse me a second.
So, yeah, while Cat's in the basement, Alistair's sipping a Glenlivet 12-year-old handful picked up on Friday. That's, if I remember, you posted about the value for that one. I think it was something like £70 as well. And amazing. The 12-year-old. We've got the 12-year-old coming into the shop just shortly, actually, because we couldn't get it for a while. We've managed to source it again, which is all good. £50 for a 12-year-old handful Glenlivet. That's not bad value at all. Who have we got? Oh, Graham Fraser. Graham, I wanted you to tell me what distilleries you weren't at Spirit Speyside. He was at Tormore as well. Very informal. Polly was good at the master class.
Oh, awesome.
What
Yeah,
else have we got?
it looks beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Where a big pour is asking, Mike, have you tried the new Glen Scotia Festival? I haven't. It's an 8-year-old port cask, if I remember right. No, it's Fino Sherry, the Fino Sherry, which sounds right up Glen Scotia Street. Something a bit dry, maybe a little bit salty and crisp, and I think it's going to be a batter. But no, I haven't tried it. This is the double cask rum release from not too long ago. Last year, I think it came out, end of last year.
Do you know, I still haven't opened my Glen Scotia that Ian and Becky did, and that was for the Campbellton Whisky Festival, wasn't it? Becky Paskin.
Yeah, that was a port cask, wasn't it? Or was it a red wine cask?
I will go find it. I don't think it's red wine, no. White port.
White port.
Yes. I'm just gradually emptying my shelf there. That one.
You've had more cardio in this Blether than all the other together.
I know. Well, I remember Dave asked ages ago, show me what's on your whiskey shelf. And at that time, it was just a couple of bottles on the floor. I was like, no. But we're gradually getting through my whiskey shelf tonight now. But yeah, I haven't opened this one. But yeah, I picked it up when I was over there last year. But I thought, open it one night when we were maybe talking about Glen Scotia and save it for a Glen Scotia related occasion.
Awesome. Good. So guys, we're here chatting to you guys, and please feel free to fire in more questions as we go. We're going to talk a wee bit about what's coming up at the whiskey shop, and let you know all about what we're doing there. I have got Jeremy. Just before we do that, Kat, what's in the bottom shot? I think I know where this is going. You're our left, Kat.
I can't do lefts and rights. Wait. Bottom shelf.
Second from the left.
This is not the bottom shelf. This is like third shelf. What do we have here? This one. Anyone playing at home? It's Glengarry. Is that the one he's asking about?
I think it must be. He's thirsty. He's wanting a dram.
Yes, it's Glengarry. That's the only exciting Glengarry I've got on that shelf. All my other single casks are over my bookcase. But I'm not going over there. How exciting.
Graham, he visited 6 distilleries this festival. Our Thrusk, that's another one that the founders just got pissed and decided to throw some letters together for a name.
It does sound like you're having a good spit, doesn't it?
It's what you cannot say that this exactly the same way twice in a row. It's impossible.
Yeah.
The Cabrach. I'm so excited to get up to the Cabrach. We've got the fearing in just now. Normally, when I talk about having the fearing, it's a Sunday morning after a night out. I've got the fear, but no, the fear. What a really nice dram. It's not overly complex. It's not punchy in any way. It's just one of these drams you can crack open and really just sit back and enjoy. So it's a blended malt of casks donated by different distilleries from around the site of the Cabrach, blended by Alan Winchester, so we know it's going to be good. And that's the first release of a trilogy of pre-Cabrach's own whiskey, known as the Fearing. So, yeah, I hope you got a chance to try that when you were at the distillery, Graham. And I have heard that it was great fun. And they are looking to, you might know more up to date. The aim was to be distilling by summer, by the end of May, maybe into June. So,
I see they're looking for production staff, so it can't be too far away.
Can't be far up. Yeah. Excellent. Who else? Yes, Alistair. He's jumped from Facebook onto YouTube. He's asking, are you going to be first in line for farm foods on Saturday? That is the big news in Inverurie, guys. Across the road from the whiskey shop, there is a farm foods opening this Saturday.
Wow.
Get yourselves down. We're even thinking about opening late to celebrate. It's going to be great. Get your whiskey and frozen.
Sorry? You do a pairing, like whiskey and frozen food pairings, like fish fingers, like turkey, dinosaur things. Like, I'm trying to, what else do you get? Peas.
The extent of Kat's frozen food knowledge is phenomenal, by the way.
I don't think I buy a lot of frozen food, to be fair. I like a waffle. I do like a waffle. And see, if you have waffles with peas, you can put a pea in each little window. That's a lot of fun on a Friday night. But yeah.
Can you imagine that in your Michelin star restaurant, to be waffle with that tiny little pea? It sounds like something they would do just to decorate. You could almost have like Minecraft. You could have like a dot, and every so often you pick up a pea and there's a bean underneath or something. And if you find the bean, you just have to put the plate back. You're not allowed to eat it.
That's quite a good game.
Oh my God, we give her some shite. So yeah, that's the big news of Inverurie. The great thing for us is it's right across the road from us. There's meant to be 60 car parking spaces there. I counted about 40. So I think they've diddled the planners there. But, if you're coming to Inverurie, I did, because the planning permission said 60. There's not 60, unless they're maybe counting the staff car parking at the back. Anyway, yeah. So if you're coming to Inverurie for that grand opening, free parking for up to 60 minutes at Farm Foods. Come across and see us.
You're promoting Farm Foods parking so that people can come shopping.
Yeah. # no responsibility from Inverurie Whisky Shop for fines collected for overstaying in the car park. Disclaimer note there.
Oh, hang on. Wait, Dave, what's the bottle in the middle that looks like it's on an angle? Hang on.
Your shelf's not falling down again, is it?
Like, which one? What color is it? I'm going to move out of the way.
It's maybe Dave. It's at an angle. That's quite a common occurrence.
Maybe. Like, in the middle of that shelf, there's a stuffed mole. But there really is. This is him. This is him here. I don't know. Have a look, Dave, and tell me what color it is, and I'll see if I can find it for you. I'm not too sure.
I see one slightly skew with.
Not that one.
No, go left. My left. You're right. Along.
I haven't got any right left. This is me going left. No, wait, I am going left. This is silly.
So just about there, go down. Oh my God, you're.
why
Oh
I'm
my
not a
God.
game show hostess.
Yeah,
That and
it's
other
like
things.
anyway. I'm going to say Dave is it's Dave that's quit. It's not the straight above the middle. So that's not to the left or right. Anyway.
Oh, right. No, sorry. That's a like yeah. The one that's like a diagonal. It's like lights that my brother bought for me. It's a bottle of Glenkeane. It's got fairy lights in it, and it's Copper Hue that made it. You know that, Mike, don't
Oh
you?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what that is. But I don't have a plug to plug the lights in, so it's pretty much just decorative. But that's yeah. So it's a bottle of Glenkeane with some fairy lights in it. Mystery
I've
solved.
got a headache after that.
I'm tired out. I'm gonna sit down.
But other people have noticed it. Tim Powell's was asking about the jaunty angled one.
Yeah. Okay.
As well.
Next week
So,
I'll get an extension cable next week and figure out.
put the
Any
lights on.
Sparkies watching tonight? I'll get my fairy lights rigged up. There we go. I'll turn it on next week.
Callum Renton is asking, he's on Facebook, with the Campbelltown and Isla festivals coming up soon, have either of you been to them? And if not, why not? I've been to Campbelltown. I was there as part of the Springbank School. I was lucky enough to get on the week of the festival. That was back in 2017. And I was so tempted just to get the ferry across afterwards. But I'd already been away a week, and that was pretty skint after the festival of Campbelltown. So yeah, that was outstanding. I loved it, and from what I know, it's grown. It's getting really good reviews, and great whiskey. It's one of the only times that you can walk in and get Springbank in abundance. Well, it was then. That was 2017. I don't know how it is now. The Isla Festival, not one I've got to yet. Unfortunately, but it's a bucket list. Yeah. How about yourself, Kat? Have you been over to those?
No, I haven't. So I went to Campbelltown for the first time last year, which was weird because I used to live in the West Coast, obviously, and I thought, why did I never go? Because like Oban was my closest town when I sailed over to the mainland, but like when I drove from Oban to Campbelltown, I was like, okay, this is why I never went. It's so far away from Oban. I've never been down for the festival, and I still haven't got over to Isla for Fish Ale. But I'm hoping that one day my colleagues will be like, do you know what? We really need a hand, and I'll get to head over maybe one day. But accommodation's your main problem, to be honest. I think you've got to really plan ahead and book. And then I think there was a bit of a fuss with ferries this year, wasn't there? Like they weren't sure if there'd be enough boats on or
yeah, because they refused to put on more extra ferries over.
Yeah, I think they have sort of changed their mind about that, and they've put on some extra sailings. But no, I've never been over, but I would love to go over to Isla for the festival. I do have to get over there. I know, I really do.
Yeah.
Next year, I will insist.
Because you get some work experience. Just say to Bowmore, yeah, I'm coming over to help.
I know. I think this is what I'm going to do, actually. I'm going to be like, yeah. I think it's good for relations to work with other colleagues, to be sent over, especially at busy times, and be like, you know what, I'll come and help you guys out. But yeah, no, I'd love to see it. I wanted to go last year because my one of my favourite bands was playing at, I think it was Bruichladdich they were playing at. I really want to go over and see them, but yeah, I've got kids, so I don't get to go anywhere, to be honest. But yeah, one day I'll get over. I think I'm hoping because I always hear mixed reviews about it. So, you tell people say like, oh, it's the best thing ever, you've got to go. And then people say, yeah, it's like maybe a couple of distilleries would be quite good, but everything else is like a bit kind of samey. It's mainly just, you go in, you buy the sort of special release and they'll do some tastings and it's maybe not worth the hype, but I don't know. I mean, that's going to be the case at any festival you go to. You're going to have the lovers and the haters. I think I would just rather see it for myself and experience for myself before I make my mind up about it.
I have heard before that the best time to go to Isla is 2 weeks after the festival.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, yeah.
Don't go the week after because all the staff are absolutely done and tired and puggled. They're just like, oh, just don't talk to me. Just leave me alone. But it's 2 weeks after. they're back in it and they're back in the groove, and they might still have some of the tasting stock left. They might not have bottles left, but you might get a wee dram of some of the specials that they had, and they're more than happy because they're not selling it anymore, so it's getting out there. Pete Head, who's on the YouTube, to be honest, Phase Isle has changed over the years, still fun. Whiskey wise, it's maybe grown too commercial, in my honest opinion. Back in the days, one goes over and brings a bottle home as a souvenir. Now he goes over for the people. Yeah, and I think that goes back to what we were speaking about, the Speyside Festival. If you can get an event where you're actually talking to other people who are loving the whiskey and not just another member of a tour, those are the kind of events I really love. And that could be just in the bar. It doesn't have to be an official event. And if you can grab a couple of bottles, brilliant. But if you don't, it's not the end of the world, is it? You don't have to, because there are those who will go over just for the bottles and they won't have anything else. They won't contribute to anything else. They'll grab their distillery exclusive and then they'll go home and they'll wait a year and it'll go on auction and stuff. We're not going to go down that road tonight.
No. But yeah, I mean, you're going to get that everywhere. As soon as a distillery releases something, whether it's a festival or not, if it's a distillery exclusive, you're going to have the people that turn up for it and keep hold of it for a bit and then fence it on. But there
is the exciting kind of side track of the Ardnahoe as well. That's being released on Friday this weekend. So that's quite exciting. And anyone going to, we've got Graham watching YouTube. He's asking if anyone's going. So let us know if you are going for the inaugural release then. We aim to have some in the shop. I haven't got my allocation yet. I imagine it'll be quite low because so it'll be coming direct from the owners, and we have an account direct with them. It's not one that we use quite often, so I dare say our allocation will be low. But keep your eye out. We might be able to get some more in. I'll try my sweetest sweet talk to get as big an allocation into the shop as we can for you guys. One other new release that we had has done very well. Is not even from Scotland. We're going over to the northernmost distillery in Scotland, in the world. If you can have a guess as to what I'm talking about, slam it in the comments, and then once the first person gets it right, we can talk about that one. So just got launched this week.
The Moon.
The Moon. It's not the Moon.
No. Not. They didn't.
Although that's pretty far north.
That's as far north as I know, anyway.
I did hear that the cost of transporting the malt over there just got crazy during COVID, so they weren't able to.
I mean, you know how much I hate aliens as well, so I would not endorse a spirit that was produced by aliens.
Coming down here. Yeah, it's not the distillery on the Moon. Although I hear that the next Isla distillery is going to be coming from the Moon because there's going to be no more space on the island to build more.
Did Ardbeg not put whiskey in a spaceship? And
it went up to the space station, I think. It went up to the International Space Station, and did an orbit around the Earth and then came back down.
I hope they had like a side by side so you could actually tell the difference. And they were just like, "Ooh, guys, this tastes so spacey."
No, if they're side by side, they would have both went to the Moon, though.
Okay, they kept one. They kept one there, and then sipped one to the Moon, and then tried them side by side. You'd want a comparison before I bought into that.
So we've had one guess from Felix asking if it's the Faroe Isles. It's not the Faroe Isles that we're talking about. It's the... There we go. David's just popped it in. Two Davids, one on Facebook, one on YouTube. The Aurora Distillery in Norway, officially classed as an Arctic single malt. I was actually going to grab a bottle. I've opened a bottle in the shop for our Whisky Bar. I was going to grab it tonight. Completely forgot as I hashed out the shop. But what a really nice dram. It's a sherry cask. It's part of their Bifrost series. So Bifrost is the going into Norse mythology. There's 9 realms or the 9 worlds, and of the Odenheim, I think it's called. And I'm going to really dig into my Marvel knowledge rather than my actual knowledge of Norse mythology. But the Bifrost is the gateway, I think, and you can transport using the Bifrost to the different worlds. And so they've named, this is the 9th and final release called oh my god, Midgard. That's the one. Came out yesterday. It came out this morning, and within half an hour, all our allocation was gone.
No way.
But, we are getting more in. It's either going to be tomorrow morning or Tuesday morning. We get more. So if you missed out, and you are keen to get a bottle, check us, because we won't announce it. It's just going to go on the shop online. So check it out and see if you can get that one. Really nice. It's a sherry cask finish, and it's not a sherry bomb. It's quite subtle, but really sweet, really malty. I think the spirit's still quite young, but we met Tor, who's the distiller, over in Rassay a couple of years ago when me and Tony were over there, and made friends and managed to get some allocations of some of the later stuff.
That's cool.
Absolutely banging dram. And I just love how far up and how beautiful it is and how remote they're working with up there. It's a beautiful place. So yeah, check it out. The Aurora Distillery Bifrost edition. David awesome. Mirabel called Janice. Yeah, give the shop a phone, and we shall see what we can do for you, David. We'll start filling another box for you.
Sometimes Janice watches. Hello, Janice, if you're watching.
Sometimes.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she watches all the time, but she sometimes pops a comment in. But I haven't seen her pop a comment in for a while.
Right. I'm sure she'll look forward to hearing from Dave.
Yes.
I don't know about you. We mentioned Germans coming over for the Speyside Festival. We have had a lot of Canadians over this week. Like every event I've done this week has been Canadians.
We've had a few. Yeah, no, you're right. We've had quite a few too. Mainly Germans and Dutch. It's like sort of for the Spirit of Speyside, I think. But it's just, I think tourist season's definitely kicked off big style, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We are getting a lot of visitors. Most of our visitors this time of year are from England coming up, maybe visiting family and whatnot. But so we did a tour on Saturday, full day tour up in Speyside. We visited Glenfarclas, Callum, if you're still there. The guys had a great time up with you. In Cardew, we got to feed the cows. Up there, we met Diesel and Treasure and Fluffy, and that was half Canadian, half Scottish. They were coming over to visit family.
That's
then
cool.
we had a couple walk in, and they booked a tasting in the Whisky Bar, so they came in for that. And they were lovely, really nice couple. Came over. Then they're staying in D-side. They googled whiskey things to do, found the shop, and came over and had a couple of flights, local whiskies. They tried our Aberdeenshire flight of whiskies, and Tony, the wife, had the gin flight. So that was cool. And then last night I was at Thainson House Hotel entertaining 25 Canadians who are over for a tour of Scotland. So
awesome.
Yeah, full on Canada in the northeast of Scotland just now, which is cool.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. I think like a lot of Canada is like Scotland, but like a giant version of it, isn't it? Like this seems similar, but bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure. But then I guess a lot of them have got Scottish ancestry and things. I think a lot of Scots ended up out there.
Yeah, Scots and Irish, I think most of them were. But it's really cool because I was speaking to them after the event, and there's like 3 or 4 of them had said, while we're here. So I don't know how the tour is organised, but they kind of spend like 4 nights traveling, and they have like a day in a castle, and they do the whiskey tasting, the state of things in house, have a meal, and then they're going up north. But so many of them have just kind of said, we're going to go do our own thing today, and they go off and meet distant cousins who they've never met, but they've connected with over Ancestry.com or something like that, and they're like, oh, we're going to come over to Scotland, can we meet up? And they go off and meet these family members that they've never met before and it's pretty cool. It's quite nice. I remember doing the same thing summer last year. One guy had come over, and he went and his family, or his new family, invited him in. They sat and had a cup of coffee, and then they went up to the graveyard, which was nearby, and she was saying, oh, this would have been your great granny or great great granny or whatever. It's quite a poignant little thing that people are coming over and finding these. That's cool.
It is. I think they get, especially if it's like a clan name as well. I think a lot of like Americans and Canadians, they love to find like other people like in Canada and America, they've got the same clan name, and like they kind of meet up and do sort of like clan events, which I think is really cool. Because I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we do much of that in Scotland, to be honest. You just accept your last name that's probably connected to a clan, but I don't think we particularly celebrate it or like have bagpipe days or anything around about it. But yeah.
Yeah, I think for most Scots, if you've got a clan relation and you look into the history of the clan, most of them are probably, we weren't very nice people back in the day. We probably, I won't give you my surname in case you're a MacLeod or something and we butchered you. And
I know, yeah, we weren't the best neighbours to each other, really, were we?
We weren't, yeah. It's quite funny when you get people coming in from overseas and they're like, oh yeah, you really hate the English, don't you? Like, well, not really. We like to pretend we do, and there's all that kind of fun banter. But they genuinely have this impression that every battle fought was between Scotland and England. It's like, oh, no. It was pretty much Scot on Scot. It was clan against clan and brothers against brothers and things like that. It was.
I mean, some of them were off the back of like what monarch you supported, I guess. But a lot of times people were siding with the power that they thought was going to win. And there was a fallout from that, I guess. But yeah, I mean, yeah. And then have them married into each other's families as well. I mean, we're all probably distantly related somewhere, especially you. You're a Stuart. I mean, like, you'll be related to everybody in Scotland.
Probably, yeah. We got around. France too. We were over in France, we were Italy,
We've had a lot of, talking about Italy, we've had a lot of French and Italians in lately as well, actually. There's been quite a few. It's just nice to see. Nice to see everybody coming over. Weather's not great for everybody yet, but yesterday was so nice. It was nice just to see a bit of sunshine and the back of winter for a little while. Not that anybody comes to Scotland for the weather, to be fair. Thank God we've got castles and whiskey, because nobody else would come otherwise.
No. It's certainly like a bucket list thing, isn't it? Castle, distillery, done that. Edinburgh Castle, especially. Listen to bagpipes. There's a very distinct.
We should just advertise you as the Scottish bucket list, because you're a Scottish man with us, like the Stuart's last name. You've got red hair and you serve whiskey all day. Like, we just
Scottish bucket list. I think I'm going to have to cross-examine those lists before I accept anything.
Like, people could come up and pat you on the head for good luck, and like you give them a wee dram and say, "Oh, hi, the new."
Broke my beard, maybe. That's it. I'll have Killian with me. We'll just stand there. And we were at Urquhart Castle last year. He would have been. When was it? Was it Tony's birthday? We were over. So October. We went over to the West Coast, and we visited Urquhart Castle. And these Americans came over and like, oh my God, look at his hair, it's so red. It's good luck to stroke his hair. And we were like, okay, you can stroke his hair, but we're holding him really tight while you do that. It was kind of creepy. We never heard that before. But yeah, apparently very good luck to stroke the hair, red hair.
I hope not. I don't want people coming up and touching heads. It's weird. It's a weird thing to do. I'm not going to tell you what was on my bucket list, to be honest. I found my bucket list after a night out, and Yeah, I need to analyse that again. I should probably write one when I'm not drunk.
And
But,
that was a tasting at the shop, wasn't it? That you did your bucket list.
it was after the Kilhoman night, wasn't it?
The home
Or
was
no,
Antia, yeah.
yeah, that's right. And then I decided, oh, do you know what? While I'm completely drunk, I'm going to write a bucket list. And then I found it in my pocket the next day. I was like, what is this? Why do I need to be dressed as a mermaid? But then it had like a wheelbarrow and brackets because my friend decided that if I was going to be a mermaid, I needed transportation in a wheelbarrow. Yeah, I might need to review that. It was a bucket list before I'm 40. That's what it was. So I'm going to have to start ticking some of those things off.
It was indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greetings to Paul Dempsey. He's watching on Facebook. Hello, Paul. Hope you're well.
Can we just say, Paul, this is not the usual level of chat, just bearing in mind that we know you're coming on soon. And usually it's much more highbrow than this. So please don't judge by tonight's standards.
Paul doesn't mind how high the brow is because that's all you ever see.
That's all you see. We need everybody to tell us what's on their bucket list as well. Bucket list dram or just bucket list in general. That would be a good way of finding out more about people. Within reason. Like, we don't need to know everything on that bucket list, like some things keep personal.
Well, apparently David has stroked me off his bucket list.
He's done what to you?
He's yeah. When I read that out, yeah.
It does sound weird, you're right.
My bucket list. So I'm no longer on his bucket list. Whether that's because he doesn't want to be involved anymore, he's just like, actually, no, I don't want Mike on my bucket list, or I don't know.
Maybe you could just say I've removed Mike from my bucket list. I don't think we should ever say I stroked Mike off. I just don't think that should ever be said out loud.
Wow. David, I hope you're not in the bath. Paul's going to have his bucket list sorted for next week.
Oh my God, yes. Do that. That could maybe be like a new prerequisite. If you're coming on the Blether, we need to know your bucket list. And that
top
could
three? I think top three.
Top three on your bucket list. I'm going to have to review mine and censor some of them.
Somebody did mention, who was it? And I meant to go back to it. So I think it was Dave Faxon asked about our rum, which I will never miss an opportunity to flaunt this. Talk amongst yourself, Kat.
Well, this is like last week when I was the only person left in the chat because you and Thomas put yourselves on mute by accident when your stupid little camera was chasing you around the room. I was left filling it. Do you know how dangerous that is? Let me left unfiltered and unaided in front of a group of people.
I can't find it. Maybe I imagined it, but
Dave said, Mike, that was last week that he mentioned the. I thought I saw the word Foghouse further up in the chat, though.
I did too. It might have been David Muir. There we go, David Muir. Not a plug, Mike. Looking at the Foghouse rum release, has it sold out? No, it hasn't sold out. It is, as you can see. So, for those who don't know, for those new to the chat, or if you're watching for the first time, Foghouse is the same team behind Inverurie Whisky Shop, but it's I'm not going to class ourselves as independent bottlers yet. We've released one whiskey, one rum, but we do a gin, a core range gin. So we've used that to kind of express some interest in buying some casks and bottling them. So I bought 4 octaves a little while ago. We filled 3 with a 10-year-old Secret Highland, which I got rumor of the other day, what it might be, but we're not going to go down that route because it is a very, very loose rumor, and I don't want to seem to be peddling a spirit if it's not from there. But we got a PX octave, and we poured some rum into it, some 5-year-old rum. So yeah, it's been 3 months in the octave, and it's really taken on some lovely color for a start, but we don't really. I mean, if that was a whiskey, I think it would probably sell out very, very quickly. That's how much we love colour. But we cut it to 49%, and it's just a really nice, easy drinking rum. It's quite light, but quite caramel, raisins. It's got a real nose of sun-made raisins, licorice. And now I have a really exciting rum cask, XPX, now rum cask, to find some whiskey for. So if anyone knows of maybe about 125 litres of whiskey that is lying around that they're not using, give me a shout. We can pop it in and see what that does. We're about halfway through the cask, David. So there's 115 bottles, and we've got about, I think it's just about 60 left, which launched on Wednesday. So
that's cool. It's an awesome bottle as well. I love the colour you went with.
Well, navy blue, navy rum. Although it's not a navy rum officially, but
I totally get it. I was already there with you. I love it.
It didn't take much imagination to say rum, navy blue. Although when we looked at it, I can't find another rum in a navy blue bottle, or it's an imperial blue bottle. Sorry, imperial blue.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So yeah, that's it. So there's my shameless plug for Foghouse. We could do a blether about Foghouse, couldn't we?
I'd have to interview you. I'd have to ask you questions. So, Mike, tell me all about Foghouse.
Oh, no. we could plug that one. We'd have heaps of people coming. I've just seen the viewing figures drop as I start plugging my own stuff. It's that's not what we're here for.
Not at all.
But yeah, so if you want to know more about Foghouse, we'll let the people decide. They can ask, do they want to know about Foghouse, and I'll tell them. Mike, what do you recommend as a mixer for them? You know what? I've had it in an old fashioned. It works really well. I haven't done much playing with a mixer, to be honest. I've just been sipping it over ice, maybe an orange peel. It's really drinkable just on its own.
I need to experiment with rum a little bit. I haven't really found my way into rum other than Jim's Pinot Noir from Outlaw. That's the only rum that I can. But
that's the ex Ardbeg Black casks.
That's them.
Which just sounds like a match made in heaven. Great rum, Ardbeg wine casks.
Yeah, I mean, it's so yum. I think it's got to the point now whenever Jim's at a trade show that I'm at, he literally hides the bottle when I come towards him. I'm like, hello. But it's lovely. But yeah, I don't know. I think I don't have a very sweet tooth, so sometimes rum I just pick out the kind of sweet notes, like that molasses kind of caramel brown sugar sort of thing.
And it's certainly there, yeah. But I was worried, especially being an octave, especially being fresh. I was worried that we're going to overpower it with that sherry notes, but I don't think we have, and the feedback has been good.
That's cool.
James is just joining us. James has nothing to forgive. You've joined us. Welcome along. He was
we should
working
explain
in
the lack of guest, maybe, for if he's just joined us.
Yes. Well, I've explained it twice, Kat, so you can tell him why.
He's just not here. Unfortunately, our guest had a last-minute work commitment, which we totally understand because, as you said yourself, James, you've been working, so these things do happen. But he has promised to appear on the Blether in a couple of weeks, so we'll get him on. We'll get him on then. So you're stuck with us, waffling away for a while. But it's nice because we're getting to know all you guys, which is cool. And I've dismantled my whiskey shelf in front of everybody as well. I don't think this little table next to me is going to hold down my bottles, so we definitely can't get any more off the shelf.
Cool. Let's have a look. Who else is commenting? David should be drinking the rum on Friday if the postman walks quickly. Awesome. James is speaking. We've got James has been ID'd. James had to send his picture to Arnaho to clear his age for shipment.
No way.
Would you not just take a photo of your granddad or something and say, "Here's me"?
But why a photo? Why not just take a picture of your like, I don't know,
Passport.
or driver's license. Like, I love the fact that they think they can identify your age from your face. I mean, do you look particularly old?
Yeah. Hope you cloud and makeup, eyeliner and all that stuff.
I are no. That's interesting. Different way of doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you get your bottom.
Oh, thank you, James. Don't need anyone. Just us and you.
Yeah, do you know what bollocks it? Maybe we should just change the Blether to just like me and Mike and you guys just hanging out for like an hour every Thursday.
I'm not sure people would like that. Sometimes we need somebody to stop the rut. And
well, my a colleague of mine had started watching them back, and she did point out, she's like, you do go off on a tangent slightly. I was like, yes, it happens, but I think sometimes it's led by our viewers also, so it's nice to interact. And James is 73.
I just seen that. How shocked would you have been if they're like, you don't look that? No, we're refusing you. I hope to God you get ID'd when you walk down to the local liquor store and say, can I get a bottle of Macallan or whatever it is? Yeah. Have you got any ID? I've seen it happen, especially when we started. So in Scotland, we started a Think 25 kind of campaign where because especially young women, when they're dressed up and they've got the high heels on and the makeup, it's impossible. It's very, very hard to tell how old somebody is. But it's easier to think somebody's over 25 than it is to think they're over 18. So
I got ID'd for beer battered mushrooms once, like a Tesco drop, what do you call it? Like an online shop. I hadn't even ordered them. They were like a replacement. I mean, I didn't even want beer battered mushrooms, and I got ID'd at the door. I was like, for what? He's like, oh, for these. I'm like, but I don't even want them. So, like,
you think the driver was just like a creepy stalker? You just wanted to know your name and stuff.
I didn't even actually think about that, to be honest. I mean, that does actually make more sense. What do you think I was going to do? Like, stand in the kitchen sucking the beer out of the batter, like some sort of sherry-soaked, like, housewife desperate for a bit of booze?
I've just finished watching that Baby Reindeer show on Netflix, so that's where my mind's going. Like everyone's a stalker now. Sorry.
Do you know, that show is crazy weird when you think that's actually true, and like how brutally honest he is about, like, like crazy.
And it's all over social media, so we might get away with saying it. But the woman who's based on comes from Fivey.
What? I didn't. Letting down the side there, like, Martha, for God's sake.
So I don't want to get sued by her if it's not true. So I'll apologise profusely if it's not right. But yeah, she's on a show with Piers Morgan.
Heard that at the hairdressers. Everybody's talking about that today. So, like, and we all know the truth comes out to the hairdressers.
If you don't hear it on the Blether, you hear it on the hairdresser.
Yes, that's true. God. Didn't see that coming. Interesting.
Yeah. What else can we talk about? I've actually just had a ping through about the Highland Academy. So we could talk about that if you want to do that. So for those who don't know, we run a Highland Whisky Academy twice a year. In first week of March, first week of September. Hopefully some of the guys who are watching, the two Daves, Felix, if you're on still, will testament that it's a fantastic week. And basically what we do, we get you into the country for a week of great banter, depending on who your other client guests are. We get some behind the scenes tours. We go up to the Chris Maltings. We introduced this year a blending masterclass with Ian Forteeth of Glencadam. And yeah, we just have a real week full of great fun, great drams, behind the scenes, warehouse tours, closed drams. We get to go up to Glenglassaugh, the cooperage, kind of show you a real experience on whiskey. So if you're interested in that, give us a shout and we can tell you all about that. We've done what's some of the highlight. Obviously, we were the first group into the Glengarry floor maltings. I have to say the first group, not the first people, because some bugger in there.
I didn't even get told about that.
Yeah.
That was very annoying. We're like, please don't take pictures, guys. And then, unbeknown to me, some journalists have been in there like the day before you and put pictures all over social media.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, we did excellent. And I'm not just saying this because you're there, you're here, Kat. It's that new mate examination is phenomenal. The tour is always great. Getting up into the kiln and that kind of stuff. We get to Knockdhu. We get to, where else do we go? Let's say Glenglassaugh, Ardmore, always a highlight. In the warehouse, we don't want to give too much away about what goes on in there. We do not get to sample free whiskey from the casks.
There's some fun things happening in that warehouse.
Oh yeah, you still haven't got me in touch with the guy I need to speak to about that casks either.
Yeah. I'd actually forgotten it, but yes, I can do that. And we also have a new assistant manager at Ardmore, which I'm very excited about too.
Yeah. Oh, he's I say he, they.
I'm very excited about the new assistant manager at Ardmore. I'm over. Potentially, we might be able to get them on the chat, which is very cool because they've got a very interesting background. So leave it with me and I'll see if we can get them on sometime, because it turns out I know them, which is very, very cool.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yes.
I'm guessing by the coy backtrack there that we're not allowed to ask who or when or. No. Okay, so no announcement yet. Moving swiftly on, we've been up to the Space Side day where we have met with Dean and Ben from Murray McDavid. We've done a warehouse tour there. We've done tastings at the Highlander. We've been to Glenfarclas where they put on some fantastic tastings for us. Glenallachie is always a pleasure there. We go in, we sit down with Richard and have tea and coffee in the morning, then a great tasting in the afternoon with Juliet. It's just a really phenomenal week. And there's some education there as well. We're tying in with the Whisky Ambassador, so you guys get accredited if you come along. We do a wee exam at the end, and then up to the Highlander for a wee meal and relaxing drams. So yeah, it's just a phenomenal week, and our next one is 1st of September till the 7th. Check out the 7th. So, like I said, if you're interested, get in touch. We'd love to meet you guys in person and see for some drams. Yeah, so I'm full of shameless plugs tonight, which I apologize for.
That's all right, though. Oh God, well, it's whiskey related, isn't it?
It's whiskey related, yeah. And you might even be amongst the first to try our new whiskey from Falkhouse.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
That's the other great thing we do. Talking about that, because our casks are sitting up with the guys at Little Brown Dog. The last couple of times we've been up to their warehouse and got a wee insight into Little Brown Dog, who I know a lot of you will know of. Andrew and Chris doing phenomenal releases there. And actually, that's probably going to be my next dram if I have one nearby. And I do. And what is it? It's a gin. That's going to be my next dram. A vermouth-inspired, matured gin.
They released one for Spirit of Speyside, did they not? Am I right?
No. They went up. Andrew was doing a bit of a tour around Speyside at the time, but they have just before Spirit of Speyside, they released the Glenbergie single cask, which I want to say Armagnac cask. It was finished in really nice classic Speyside, but with a real punch of apples and toffees. Really nice dram.
That's
Right,
cool.
yeah, they took some photos of the bottle while they're up on Speyside. So it was
That's what it was. Because I think my whole feed of Instagram was just filled with Spirit Speyside stuff. So, which is really, really cool to see. But sometimes there's like so much happening. It's trying to like keep on top of all the news.
I know. It's. I think Graham said earlier on, you go to the Speyside Festival to find out all the whiskey news that's on the go. And what I love about a lot of these guys, you get somebody like, I'll probably get in trouble for mentioning, like Ben Chambers from Larry McDavid, or Matt from Dewars and that. You get them over a dram, Ian Forteeth. They get so excited and they just want to tell you everything. And Ben's brilliant because he always starts, well, I can't say too much, but, and then an hour later, he's told you everything, especially after a wee dram. It's amazing. But yeah, so it's such a good experience of sitting down with guys and opening some drams and loving it.
I know, I really need to book into something next year. I definitely need to do that. So I'd either be going myself and driving and like getting, I don't know, driver's jams, I suppose. Because I think somebody, I can't remember who was commented further up, was maybe Felix, that public transport's not that great. And it's not, because, you know, you're not really on the bus route over Speyside way. So yeah, it's a lot of organising. We need somebody, an intermediary that's kind of books everything for you and creates an itinerary for you. We need somebody like Annette. If Annette's watching, I need you in my life, Annette, to book all my itinerary for Spirit of Speyside, and tell me when to go and when to turn up and what bus to get on. That would be handy.
That's it. Somebody more organised.
Yes.
But, we'll even give her the whiskey bus from the shop. You can drive us.
I can drive. I've just told you that I've never been before, and now I've become your driver. You can drive me.
No, I say you can drive us.
I think you said
No.
I thought you were just like signing me up to be the. I've got an awful sense of direction as well. You'd never get to the distillery. No.
James has just put a comment on YouTube. I have the Butts Nust Yellow Gin also.
The Butts Nuts?
Yeah.
Not the botanist.
No, it's the Butts Nust. Yeah.
It must be.
It's started a chain now. So Alan has replied saying it sounds like some cream might be needed to clear that up.
It does a little. Yeah, it does. He can maybe sit in the bath with David with his bottle of Balmore, and they can.
Balmore, yeah. James would love to do an academy. I've done the Isla Academy. Phenomenal, really, really good experience. And yeah, it's so I went to the Isla Academy in 2019, and while it wasn't the full inspiration behind me setting up the Highland Academy, it showed me what was possible. My original idea of the Highland one was a weekend, maybe 3 days, where we did kind of all day classroom in the first day, second day distillery tour, and then maybe go up to the maltings or something like that, and then the third day would be classroom again and hosting a tasting and stuff. So that was kind of my idea for a 3-day weekend. I went to Rachel's Isla Academy in 2019, and just the amount of things that they had on. I was like, we've got most of this kind of stuff on our doorstep as well. And so that's what kind of planted the seeds, and we could do why restrict it to 3 days? We could do a week, no problem here. So yeah, I would highly recommend. And what I love about the Isla one as well is they kind of have a very set. This is going back 5 years now, so I'm not sure how they're set up now. But in the morning, you're doing classroom work, and it's a lot of lectures, education, knowledge, and then in the afternoon you do a distillery tour. What I wanted the Highland Academy to be is an experiential course, and effectively, my thinking is, and like everything in whiskey, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just a different way of thinking. Is in my opinion, I came back from most of my academy courses, and I include Edinburgh Academy and Springbank, where you learn a lot of stuff. But if you're not continuously using that information, you forget a lot of it, or you forget the relation of it to the whiskey you're drinking and how to keep it. So unless you're looking for becoming a distiller or becoming a warehouseman or becoming in the whiskey industry full time, there's a lot of it I don't really think you need. It's great to know, but you'll only know it for a certain amount of time that you're using it. So for me, the Highland Academy is more like, if you're sitting in a bar, what would you rather say, talk about? Would you rather say, I know what a long fatty acid chain is, or would I rather say, I had a 1972 straight from the cask in a certain distillery and it was phenomenal. What are you wanting to have that conversation about? And I want to have as much of those kind of unique drinking experiences with friends that you meet on the academy. So that's really, yes, as education, we do a great course first thing on olfactory and gustatory perception, basically teaching you how to use your nose, how to use your mouth, how that all links. There's a bit of science behind that. That's run by a great guy called Paul McLaughlin, who is a Canadian dentist. Don't let that put you off. He really, really does know his stuff. And he's come over a couple of times to present it in person. And it really sets you up for understanding how you're nosing and tasting. And that's, apart from kind of some Q&As and things, that's the only really sit-down lecture kind of part of it. And it's purely in there first thing on a Monday morning to set you up for being able to use that information for the rest of the course. And then let's say we've done the new make master class at Glengarry is phenomenal. Hopefully we can continue that going as long as we can. I don't know if that's possible because there's things happening. But whatever comes in its place is going to be equally as good, I'm sure. So, but yeah, we want you to be able to, as an attendee to the course, to go back and say, yeah, these are the whiskies to try. These are the people I met and talked to and learned from. So yeah, there's a course out there for everyone. Like I say, it's not right or wrong. We just offer something that's different to what the other guys do, and that's what it is.
That's a point as well. I know that already exists. If you want to do a full sit-down educational course where you're learning sort of, the sort of basics of distillation, that already exists. So you can go and do that. But if you've already done that, you've ticked that box. Whereas you're offering something different. You're still doing an academy, so to speak, but you're looking at it from the other side of things, a bit more kind of in the thick of the distillery, kind of seeing behind the scenes, that sort of thing. So, you could do both and still have that sort of full circle of both sides of the academy, so to speak.
And there's nothing to say you can't do both. You can't do one year and one the other. We have discussed making, because we run it twice a year, we've discussed maybe making the March Academy more, or one of them, whether it's March or September, more educational and more classroom work with some experience. And then do the other one, it's the full kind of whiskey geeks or drinkers dream week or something like that. And so people can come to both and try it. And if you want to come over to learn how whiskey's made and that kind of stuff, we can do that offering as well. So we're sitting there
as well, though, isn't it? I mean, you've had people who will keep coming to you just so they can get in to distilleries that you wouldn't usually get to go and see, like Ardmore, like Glenglassaugh, things like that, like the maltings. You can't just turn up the maltings and say, "Excuse me, can I have a look around?" Without signing up to like the academy, you wouldn't get in to see these places. So it's a really great way of getting into these places and seeing behind the scenes a little bit.
Absolutely. Felix, thank you very much. We would love to have you back, hopefully without the snow this time. So that was last March when Killian was born, actually. Felix was on that academy.
That's right, because we went over for the Knockdo Day, and that was the day we were in the hospital, because we got...
Yeah, you guys were at Knockdo when he was born.
That's right, we got the update. We're all stood, we'd just come out of the warehouse, and we're all just stood in the courtyard waiting to go back into the main office bit, and it all came through. You must have messaged Russell at the time. And we all raised the glass for wee baby, because I don't think I don't think you'd set a little name there on his name, so we just knew he'd had a wee son.
Because we got a Glendronach handful from the Academy.
That's
and
right.
just said Glenn. We called him
Yeah.
Glenn. I did
That's
pitch a name to Tori, but she wasn't for it. I think it was too close to a whiskey.
Well, Killian's a much nicer name anyway. No offense to any Glens watching, it's also a very, very good name.
It's quite weird because you don't see there's nobody in Wales called Valley, is there?
Not that I know of.
Why that just popped into my head. It's like, because Glenn is obviously, we translate that. How it became a first name, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, how would it? Yeah, I mean, it's quite lazy. But then his name's like Corrie and stuff. Like a Corrie is like that's like the top of a hill, isn't it? Like
It's like a wee loch left over from a glacier, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, maybe it's just like, I'm trying to think of other examples, but there must be like, yeah, maybe it's just like.
Oh, I mean, we've got names like Apple and Peach, and
that's true. Yeah. I just saw the. I just saw the word Glengeedy and got distracted. It's like, I'm like a goldfish whenever I see the word Glengeedy. I'm like, ooh, what are you saying?
Oh dear. Good evening, Ryan. Great to have you on. No worries about missing the start. We haven't had a guest on, so it's not like they've buggered off. We've had to wing it for the evening. He's drinking the Glengeary Reserve and 12-year-old tonight.
Nice, one in each hand. I like your style. Awesome. Mm-hmm. I've got a 12-year-old down on the floor. I'm not talking about my son. He's in another room. So I've got my 12-year-old there. We've been picking through my whiskey shelf, so everyone keeps spotting things behind me and asking what they are. And so we ended up with a Glengeary. So we've said the word Glengeary quite a few times. So you're going to have a few drams to catch up. But looks like you're set up for it. So on yourself.
That's what we should do. See when our guest pulls out on an evening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link up to join us, and the first person gets to join us as our guest. The first person to click on that link, it comes in the green room. That's our guest for the evening.
Oh, that's such an awesome idea. Let's
as long as it's not David Muir, anyone else is fair game.
David Muir is fine as long as he's not in the bath.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. So if you're in the bath, you need not apply. But yeah, how fun would that be? I think we'll do that.
It would be fun. We should maybe do it like once or twice out of the whole year, like some sort of ballot. If you want to be on the Blether, pop your name in, and like one night out of the year, we'll get you on. Or yeah, just a reserve. Well, not a reserve. Like obviously we want you on. We're not just saying if we can't get anybody better, we'll have you on. But
I've got Callum Linton again. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that would be cool. It'd be nice to like chat to folk and get you on live. That's if you like doing it though, because chatting live to folk is quite a scary thing. I remember the first time I went, I think it was with Russell, wasn't it? The first live chat I did.
Yeah. David Stark, I think, was your debut, wasn't he?
I know. And my main problem was I got so involved just listening to what you were saying, I just forgot to say anything. I was like, that's really interesting. And Russell was messaging me like, you're allowed to talk. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't said anything for like a good hour.
Russell was exactly the same when he started though as well. And looking back, it might have been because I did a few of these on my own. So I was used to talking to people, and it's like what we're doing tonight. It's a lot easier when there's two of you to chat than three. So when Russell came on and started doing them as well, he was very. It might have been more because I was used to it and I just kind of flowed with it. I don't know if I maybe talk too much or react too quick, but yeah. Once you get confident in it and realize it's not that scary.
It's not. I prefer it this way because I like interacting with everybody, and obviously it's talking back and forth to you. I sometimes actually forget that we're not actually just chatting; we are live. What I find scary, I don't know if I've just noticed that. What I find scary still is if you're doing an online tasting for people, and so you're talking about the whiskey, and nobody puts their cameras on, so you get no reaction. Like the chat will sometimes come through, but you can't see if people are enjoying it. You can't see if they're making weird faces. You can't see if, you know, if they're awake. I'm still not very good with this. Like, it's fine. I like how you do it, like your hybrid tasting. So like the people at home can watch the people in the room. That's a really good way of doing it. But if it's just literally just me presenting to a whole pile of people at home, and you know, all I can see is myself, like that's still something I haven't got used to.
Yeah. It does take a bit, and I guess it's realizing that you're not talking to yourself. You are. There are people there, and they are listening. And the fact that it's silent is probably a good thing, because it means that you're getting the message across quite well, and they don't feel that they have to ask.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
There is something, and people do it in store tastings. It's quite easy to do online as well. Is just say, pick on somebody and say, right, Bill, what's your thoughts on that one? And then you go, what was that you talking about? if that happens, then you're in trouble. There's always one or two who have their screens on. There might be a reason. It might be poor internet that they've got the camera off, and it streams quicker without it. But yeah, it's a tough one. We did so many virtual tastings, unbelievable. We're talking like between 6 and 8 a week at some point, between Russell and I, when we're doing it full time. And yeah, you forget, you lose track of time and all sorts. And then we always had an after party in the evening ones. It was always a case of, right, guys, what are you drinking now? Let's crack open the other bottles. And I remember doing a tasting with, and our guest was Karen McWilliam. She was Glenallachie at the time.
Glenallachie, yeah.
And I was lamenting the fact that when it comes to Glenallachie, I have got so many bottles. I haven't bought a bottle of Glenallachie for a wee while now, because I've got so many still. But every bottle was kind of at that. And my fear, I still have this fear. I don't know if anyone at home has it, where you get there of a bottle you know you're never going to get again. You're like, I don't want to finish that, because when I have that last pour, that's that bottle gone. And I can never bring myself to do that. And I know you get infinity bottles and all that, but you still lose that individual dram. So Karen was like, Mike, stop being a fanny, get them finished. Basically, yeah, get them in your glass. So I ended up, I just started pouring them out. And that doesn't look like a lot. See, when you get that in a glass, it's a big pour. It's a bit of treble. So I remember about 1 o'clock in the morning waking up, and the camera's still like this. It's all set up. And I'm just like, oh, shit. Text Karen and said, what time did I fall asleep? Oh, yeah, we kind of left you to it. But I went through about 8 of these bottles and finished them.
Oh, my God. You fell asleep live on a live tasting?
No, but we'd stopped the recording.
After party,
yeah. The after party, not during an actual official event. We'd never do that. Jeez.
Oh wow, this is why I don't drink too much. I would be the person that fell asleep.
It was great fun. Last week we had a tasting with it was Dave Stark. Was in doing 2 weeks ago, doing a tasting, and the guys online. So. If there's a downside to our live tastings, we do a hybrid. For those who don't know, when we do a tasting in the shop, we've got the tasting room upstairs. People come in and they get the drams. But if you can't make it to the shop for any reason, if you're too far away or you can't get a taxi or drive, for whatever reason, you maybe just prefer to sit at home. We can send you out a pack, and then we do effectively what we're doing tonight. We go live on it's Zoom. You join in, you sit on the TV. We set up a camera in the room. You join in, and you hear everything. But when you get to maybe dram 5 or dram 6, the room gets quite loud, and it gets, it does start to get a bit boisterous, and it can be quite hard for the host to kind of communicate with the guys online. But on that particular evening, the guys online were all chatting away to each other fine, and it's a little bit like the barflies here, who kind of sometimes just go off and they have their own great wee chat, and it's fantastic they do that. So when we went to shut down the hybrid side of it, I was like, look, guys, you seem to be getting on really well. I'm sorry it's getting a bit loud in here. What I was going to do, I just allocated one of them. You can be the host. Feel free to use our Zoom, because we obviously use the business Zoom, so it's infinite time. You guys crack on. And I spoke to them in the morning. I said, what time do you get? And they were on for a couple of hours just chatting amongst themselves and comparing drams and having a wee after party themselves, which I thought was fantastic.
That's lovely.
They'd never met each other, or maybe they'd seen each other in tastings and all that. And we kind of just put them together and said, you know what, you're completely random strangers, sharing the same whiskey. Go off and enjoy yourselves. I loved that idea. It was just really, really cool. And I think that's that happened with us during virtual tastings. And that's why I was determined when we went back to in-house that we were going to continue that virtual side as well, because we got customers who turned into friends, and we didn't want to lose that connection with them, you know, whether they're from London or York or Glasgow, wherever they are.
Or Jersey.
You know, or Jersey. Yeah, we a staple group of guys in Jersey we send over tasting packs, and they all sit in one room and chat to us. It's brilliant. So we don't want to lose that, because, like I said, they're not customers anymore, they're friends, and we talk a lot of whiskey with them, and Facebook and YouTube, and some of them are in the chat tonight. So it's quite cool to have that connection and keep that connection.
It's what's nice about the Blether as well, because like sometimes you go to like a whiskey event, or like our folk will come into the distillery like, oh, you know, you're so and so from the Blether, like, and they say their name, like, oh yeah, I see your name pop up in the chat. It's really cool. It's nice when people to know that people are watching and like kind of interacting and stuff. It's great. It's whiskey is a nice way of bringing people together, isn't it?
Yeah. Did I tell you about Stuart from Torraveg when we took him to the pub after he's tasted?
Yeah, because you know, I told this story to a colleague, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's so and so off of TikTok. Yeah, he's like mad famous on TikTok." He's like, "I did not know this."
I can't remember if I said this on the Blether or not before, but talking of recognition, I very, very, unless I'm maybe in the pot still, somebody will come up, oh, you're Mike from the whiskey shop, but it's a very rare occurrence. And as me and Stuart Dick from Torraveg, brand ambassador Mossburn, he'd been up doing a tasting with us, and we went back to the pub. So I've got a pub in Inverurie as well, bed and breakfast. So if a host is coming up for a brand ambassador is coming up for a tasting, we put them up in the B&B. We often get a pint afterwards. So we're sitting in the pub, having a pint, and talking about being recognised and stuff. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get." He said, "You got to get on TikTok if you want to be recognised." I've got X amount. I was like, "Piss off! You're talking shite, is it?" You've been noticed in the street in Glasgow, but then there's everyone in Glasgow knows people, and I didn't really believe it. But just as we were closing the pub, this group of young lads from Inverurie were in the pool room, and they started walking through, and one of them said, "You're the dram babbler," and he said, "Yeah," and I was like, "I don't even drink whiskey, but I love you on TikTok." And then went through and got the rest of them, and they all came through. "Oh, you're the dram babbler! It's great. Oh, what you doing?" And I'm sitting there thinking, "I'm the whiskey game this. What the fuck are you doing?" Unbelievable. They had no idea who it, but yeah. It was brilliant. I loved it. It was so funny. He just basically underlined his point. I reckon TikTok works. So we need to do. I don't know if TikTok allows us to do a Blether for this long on it.
You'd have to do like, because I think it's wee short videos, isn't it? So you'd have to do like wee like highlights, like the best bits sort of thing, maybe, or I don't know how it works. I'm too much of a nana to figure out TikTok.
If anyone has anyone who has knowledge of social media, please let us know if we can TikTok. I'm not sure if the age group would be old enough on TikTok to be watching. I always think of TikTok being 13, 14-year-old kids doing silly dances and stuff. But
yeah, I think so. Yeah, like glow ups and dances and things. But we can maybe get you on the. What could we? Yeah, we get you on the TikToks, film little videos of you. Like, I don't know. What does Stuart do on it? Just like reviewing whiskey, or is he like kind of just like his job, like the shows and stuff?
Pretty much. He'll show himself packing a suitcase and driving to a shop or a distillery or something.
It's like an Instagram reel, but for TikTok, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically Snapchat, column, Instagram. Yeah. There we go. Jeremy is saying that it can do live videos for a long time.
Ah.
There we go. Ed, yes, we have accommodation at the pub. We've got 3 bedrooms. And yes, it is for sale. So if anyone wants to buy a pub,
buy all the bedrooms.
Yeah. Give me a bell. The stipulation is that you keep it as a pub.
That's cool. It's a massive space. It's a really big pub. You've got all sorts in there. You've got pool tables and live music and everything. Is really good pub. We're just advertising everything for you tonight, Mike. We've done Foghouse, Whisky Academy, pubs for sale. Anything else we need to cover?
Well, I think so. I think we're pretty good. Check out my Tinder.
Tony, if you're watching.
I am not on Tinder.
Wait, hang on. Check out my Tinder. I realize that all my Tinder pictures are whiskey related, because it's the only time I take a photograph of myself is when I'm standing in front of a mash tun. But apparently, if you're a bloke, everyone's an expert on what a good whiskey is.
Well, anyway. we had one of those in the shop today, and I it's hard not to be judgmental of it at some point when it comes to whiskey. I love everyone who comes into the shop and buys something, and even if they don't buy something, they're coming in but you get sometimes they come in and do you know how you get these guys? You'll meet them every day who always think they know more about whiskey than what they actually know.
Yes.
And I wasn't there, but I'll read this message I got. I really hope they're not that big a fan that they're going to be watching this. And
I've got absolute fear that you're away to read this out and then they pop up in the comments.
Oh, that was me. I don't want bourbon. I want Scotch whiskey. No, this is single malt finishing bourbon. No, I want a single malt. And I get the confusion, but and everyone needs to learn. I get that. But you get to the point where you're so set that you're not willing to learn. You're not willing to. I've got that wrong.
Yeah.
So it's finishing a bourbon cask. Yeah, okay. It was just that adamancy that no, I don't want that. It's bourbon. Give me a knock to give me an annick. That's single malt. Yeah, well, it's still finished in bourbon. But yeah, we have these people out there. If you see these people, do not slap them. Try and educate them. Try and tell them in the nicest possible way that they're welcome in the community, but they just need to be a little bit more open and a little bit more. All right, okay. Let's admit I got that wrong and move on.
Do you know, it's something that we've spoken about quite a lot as well. It's like trying to myth bust and educate because I think there's a lot of terms we use because we're all into whiskey and we use these terms like single malt, like cask strength, like distillery exclusive, things like this that you think are quite self-explanatory terms. But even the term single malt, it causes a lot of confusion. It's a question I'm asked a lot of, like, people walk into the distillery and be like, so show me what's a single malt. You're like, all of this. This is all. And then, if this is a single malt, then what's a double malt? But then you've got things like Balvenie, which call it a double cask, double wood. Yeah. And they're just kind of playing on a accepted term of like a marriage. which is what we all know a lot of whiskies are. So it's the fact that marketing and branding are taking some of these terms sometimes and stretching them a little bit. And I think it does cause a lot of confusion. And there's so much pretentiousness out there that people get afraid to ask these very, very basic questions of like, what do you mean by single malt? You know, if you do like any of your online courses, like if you start your WSET 1, for example, like the first page is explaining pretty much the difference between a single malt and like a, you know, like a lot of us do just need to start at the basics and figure out what these terms are.
Yeah, we're not in a tourist area. We're a thoroughfare from Aberdeen to Speyside, and a lot of people pass through no whiskey in there. But our local clientele aren't really, you know, I would say about half of the people come into our shop in Inverurie and say, I'm buying for somebody else. My dad likes whiskey, my granny likes whiskey and whatnot. And if they say to the recipient, oh, you know, what kind of whiskey do you like? Oh, I like a Speyside single malt. That's all they know. That's all they have to go on. They're maybe gin drinker. They maybe don't even drink. They're people, but they think, well, they helped me they painted my house, or they fixed my plumbing, or they looked after my dog when I was on holiday or something, and they just want to say thank you. And that's what they've been told. Speyside single malt. So that's what they have. So that's what we've got to go on. And I get that. It's the other side of it, the people who think they know the whiskey, and they're just so sick. They heard something in a tasting they did once, and that's gospel, and that's it. Just like
no, you're right. For every one person that's maybe sort of genuine misunderstanding, there's that expert in the room who is deliberately not willing to learn because what they know is right.
Did you watch or listen to the Not Another Speyside, Not Another Whiskey podcast live, the Speyside one?
Not yet. I saw it and I just haven't had time to get. I'm really behind with them because I was. I love that podcast. So no, I haven't caught.
There was a line there. It was so good, and I think it was Mark Thompson. He was one of the guests, and we were talking about how they started off as brand ambassadors, and kind of at what point did they kind of realize that they've got the confidence now to be a brand ambassador and stand out. Mark was telling us about experience of. I'm sure it was Mark. It might have been Struan. It's hard to tell because you don't see them on the podcast. They were saying that there was a guy in the room who said, oh, how many, in 20 at the time, 22, 23 maybe. This guy in the room was, oh, and how many distilleries have you been to? I've been to about 8 maybe. I've been to them all. And at that point, there's like 120 distilleries. I've been to every single one. and it was Mark's girlfriend at the time was there, and she turned around to this guy and she said, it was the best put down you'd ever heard. Well, I've taken a piss in every public toilet in Scotland. It doesn't make me a plumber. It was brilliant.
Do you know, he told that same story on the Blether when I had
did
him
he?
on. Yes.
Yeah, so it was Mark then, yeah.
It was Mark. I remember him telling that story. That is awesome, isn't it? That's the ultimate kind of turnaround.
Yeah. And that's it. We just have to, and no matter what level you are in the industry, whether you're somebody that you guys watching us tonight, whether you're a shop, a distillery, visitor centre, production, brand ambassador, or master distiller, you have to be open to the fact that you might get it wrong sometime, and just say, oh, I did not know that, or that's not what I would believe before. The evolution of facts, I like to call it, is like something we think is true might evolve.
No, definitely. And there's a lot of misinformation out there as well. You know, for every one genuine fact about a distillery, you'll find another source, another blog, another book that'll completely turn that in his head and tell you something else. So, you can't be right 100% of the time.
No. Tell that to Tony.
No, I like her. And she is always right.
She is. So if we have, on that note, if we've told you anything that's wrong tonight or any of the other Blether, let us know, because if we don't say it wrong in the first place, then nobody learns.
That's true. Ed lives in Huntley. Look at that.
Ed,
Sorry, I'm
yeah. I
distracted
mean,
again.
Ed is also a Sparky. He's a joiner. He is a painter. He helps with Wi-Fi.
Wait, why did I not know this before? Ed, like, have you not watched me ask for like handymans every week? Also married. That's okay. I can allow that. Don't worry. I'm, on Tinder, but I've got limits. Like married men. Tinder's full of married men as well. So naughty. But anyway, that's a different show.
I was, we were talking. No, what was I listening to? It was, not another. No, it wasn't. It was.
Oh,
There's
not
no such thing as a fish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So not another. No such thing as a fish. It's a podcast I absolutely love, and they're talking about pagers, and how pagers are now pretty much obsolete apart from in hospitals. So doctors and that they have an internal pager system.
Or retained firefighters. We've got 3 retained firefighters at the distillery, and they've all got pagers.
All right. Oh, I'm going to have to because you can write in your own facts after you've listened to the podcast. So
yeah.
I'll tell them that. Where was I go? Yeah. So and they also it's pager technology that if you go to a restaurant and the table is full,
yes,
they give you a wee buzzer, and that's pager technology, which is really interesting. But what they used to do was when the pager alert came through, it would give you a voice message, and it would be like, "Call your wife," or the kids need picked up from school, or something. It would be a text message. It would buzz, and the thing would shout out. But you could personalize that message for a number. So if the wife buzzed you, it would say call the wife. And they did a survey of this, and 100% of the men asked if they had a personalized message for the wife said that it would come through rather than buzz the wife, phone the wife or something. It would be call work or call the football club or something like that. And it was because the guys might be out and like socializing and fraternizing or whatever, and they didn't want this random buzzer to go off while they were doing it saying you need to call the wife because because these things are quite loud. Yeah.
No way.
You just kill it. Yeah, absolutely. Men are dicks. This is back in the 90s and 80s and 70s. Men nowadays are cool. We're nice.
Yeah. Okay.
But it ties in, as you say, that a lot of married men on Tinder and stuff. And, we maybe haven't changed that much.
There's a lot of naughty people out there. What
has that got to do with whiskey, I hear you ask?
I don't know. I can't even remember how we got onto that. I don't
know. Tinder. I think it was you. It was you and your Tinder.
No, you mentioned Tinder because you said something about Tinder first. You definitely did. It doesn't matter now. Like, who cares? This is how these chats divulge over the course of the night.
So, yeah, before we get ourselves in any more trouble, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you on the Aquavite in about 45 minutes from now. If you want to get yourselves a wee break in between, give me a hello when you get there. But who's on next week? I think we know.
It's Paul Dempsey from
Paul Dempsey.
I just forgot the name. Brave New. No, what are they called? Brave.
Yeah. Brave. Yeah. Brave New Spirits.
I thought it was, and then the little part of my brain was saying, "Stop talking. That's not right." But I knew it was Brave New Spirits. Yes.
So I'm gonna love next week because Paul loves a pun. He loves a dad joke. He loves anything like that. He's a big kid.
Awesome.
So it's going to be so much fun. Yes, Callum, Witchburn Distillery, the new distillery in Campbelltown. We'll be talking all about that.
And he's got his bucket list. He's getting his bucket list ready. So I think we need to have, next week's bucket list Wednesday. No, Wednesday. We're not changing the day. Bucket list Thursday.
Bucket list Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. Guys, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for sticking with the nonsense. And no guest. You guys all deserve a star.
Yeah, everyone who's there will become like a top fan of the Blether.
Yes. You guys, we need a nickname for you all. You like our little Bletherers. We need to get merch.
Bletherist?
No.
No.
We'll work
No. Still an idea.
Just no. We'll work on it for next week.
We will do. Any ideas, more than welcome. The
Yes.
Blether Academy.
No.
The linguistic. No. We'll think about it.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah. Guys.
We'll have it. Here's everyone.
We're going to give Kat a chance to put all the whiskey back on her shelves now.
I know.
And, we will hopefully see you all next at the Bothy Bletherers. We did a pin badge. Cool. All these ideas, great stuff. Come, keep them coming. We will. I would love to do a pin badge reveal.
We are definitely doing merch.
A mountain of pin badges on my hat here.
We have a lot. That's a heavy hat. But yeah, we're going to get some. We have
one on that side.
Why is that one being relegated? Like, what's wrong with that one?
So these are all distilleries, and this is just a Glencairn badge.
Oh, fair enough.
Glencairn glass. So it's upside down. Pour all the whiskey.
You look so gangster with it sideways.
Che Guevara.
We need merch. We're definitely getting merch. You guys at home, you would wear merch, right? Like, I don't know, Blether cups, Blether Glencairns. We said that last week. That has to be a thing. We need to get this happening.
Absolutely. We just need a logo. Any designers, any graphic designers out there who can do logos and stuff, get yourself around the Cat's house. And
come on around. Bring a Sparky for getting my lights set up as well, and we'll have a wee brainstorm. Awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. Every week's a pleasure hosting you, and we will see you next week.
Cheers, everyone.
Good night.